Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning, Ricky.
We have another webinar this morning.
We have a little real estate chat.
A little real estate conversation, yes. And what are we speaking about today?
We're talking about getting your home ready to list.
Yeah.
You've made the decision you want to sell it. Now, what's the process you need to go through to get it ready to put on the market?
Yeah, good time of the year for people to start thinking about listing their home.
It's a good time of year to start thinking, especially since inventory's pretty low.
Very.
And we have a lot of buyers, so people are really looking to put their money into a home.
All right, well, let's get into it. So, getting a house ready to list. What are some of the top things that we advise our clients with?
Well, I think first, philosophically, you have to have your mindset around it, but people often think that they have to do more than they actually do.
Right.
And that's where we can be a good resource because we're a neutral, opinion in it, and we can, help guide them. Like, you don't have to do everything.
Right.
Like, slow down. You don't have to invest all your money in. You probably less is more.
Yeah, and I think what you said about us being a neutral influence and having an objective viewpoint, I find that really helps because a lot of our clients, our sellers, are so emotionally involved in their home that's hard for them to see the trees in the forest,
right,
so to speak.
And that's normal. Everyone has
right.
that connection to their home. But if we can help guide them on, no, you don't necessarily have to repaint all the interior rooms. The potential buyer might have a different taste.
Yeah.
The same with some people might think that they've got to change the flooring. That's not necessarily so. And that's where we can help guide them and be objective and neutral.
Right. So some of the big things to do that we advise our clients, declutter.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we want to get all the decluttering out. And the thing that I also like to advise our sellers is not only decluttering, but depersonalizing. And
Absolutely.
I'm a big believer in the in the psychology of buyers.
Mm-hmm.
And when buyers are going in, and we represent a lot of buyers when we walk into homes with them, and I always see how the psychology of the buyers, how they gravitate towards, can this be my home?
Right.
And I'm a huge believer in that whole the whole psychology of that we have to make certain the home be very accessible to a buyer feeling like it could be theirs.
Right, and I thought what you were going to say as far as gravitating was they gravitate towards pictures, personal pictures.
Yeah.
So if they're there, they're looking at like your family, the seller's family, when to your point, you want the buyer to feel like this could be their home.
Yeah.
So you need to remove those personal objects.
Yeah, it's
so
hard for buyers to get past all that personal stuff.
Right,
and
right.
For them to visualize this being their
as
home.
theirs.
What else for getting a home ready? What do you think about pre-inspections?
I'm a big fan of them.
Yeah.
Because it takes away any surprises that might come down the road once you're under contract.
Yeah, we tell our listeners a little bit about the pre-inspection process and how easy it is, really.
Yeah, it is. You just engage a home inspector, and we work with a lot of them, and we would recommend them to the sellers, and the home inspector takes a look at all aspects of the house. Both the systems, the heating, the cooling, the roof is a key item that you want to make sure that you're comfortable with. The stucco, and so it's just nice to have that report, and then you can choose. Cause a home inspector is always going to find something.
Right.
There's always something on a house you need to fix, but then you can make the decision as the seller what you want to do.
Yeah, and one of the things that a pre-inspection hopefully will try and stop is the surprises. And if there's one thing that could sidetrack a transaction, there's nothing more than surprises, and that's for a buyer or a seller. And buyers are all excited, as they should be, about their new home. And we get it under contract, we've agreed upon the price, and then inspection comes along and a surprise hits, and the buyer just is sometimes in shock, and when they're surprised, it just doesn't make the transaction go as smoothly.
Right, on either side.
On either side. For sellers, many sellers are surprised by the inspections themselves and the results of them. They didn't know the roof was in bad shape, or they didn't know the boiler needed work. And then if they don't know this until after they're under contract,
Right.
and sellers a lot of times have indigestion over a sale price that they really didn't want to agree to, but they acquiesced and agreed to a sale price, and then they get further down the line, and now there's some more allowances the buyer's asking for because of inspection. So a pre-inspection tries to settle that. So we're big believers in pre-inspections.
And I also think it's a nice. It shows the buyers how dedicated and committed the sellers are to making sure they're delivering a sound property.
And they're not hiding anything.
Right.
Great point. Other things that sellers should do to get a house ready to sell. Any other?
Yeah,
thoughts?
probably the lowest. Lowest
fruit?
Pardon?
Lowest hanging fruit?
Well, yeah, but the lowest price commitment and the highest return on investment is landscaping.
Yeah, first impressions.
First impressions, curb appeal, easy to do. Make sure that the yard's clean. You add some seasonal foliage, flowers, and that makes a big difference when you pull up and.
That first impression is
crisp.
key. Yeah, I have this pet peeve when I'm going into a property with a buyer, and I get to the front door, and the glass screen door or the glass door has fingerprints all over it, and
dog noses.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, boy, this seller has. They haven't even taken the time to do this. What else are we missing? So the first impressions are very key. A good deep cleaning. You get the home clean, ready to shine for sellers,
You're
for
right.
buyers. Yeah.
Don't forget about windows and blinds and all of that.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have the big conversation with a lot of our sellers, and we've done separate videos and separate webinars on this and articles on our website about staging. Mm-hmm. And we could do a whole conversation on staging just on its own. But, many times a home needs to have a fresh look and be staged.
Right, and I've told you the story before. I had to have that conversation with my parents when they sold their home. Their home was a soft contemporary, and their furniture just really didn't match the home. Right. So they had it staged, and as you know, it sold on the first showing. So that doesn't happen all the time, full disclaimer, but staging does make a big difference, I believe. Yeah. It's worth the investment.
What else? Oh, another thing is that I find a lot of sellers overlook until we're right down to the wire, and that is their whole moving strategy.
Good point.
Yeah, we go under contract, and the seller's thinking, "Oh, now what am I going to do?"
Right. Where am I going? What am I going to do?
Yeah, we don't even have a mover involved, and so I always stress to our clients that when they're getting their home ready, they also start putting together their strategy for moving. Whether it's moving companies, are they going to need storage? Do they have a house they're going to go to? And let's have all that ironed out, because the whole process is pretty stressful to begin with.
Right. And
not being properly prepared makes it even worse. So I think those are some good ideas, and we would welcome any of our clients or our listeners to call us or to email us, and we'll put that on the screen on this webinar on how to get a hold of us. And
we'd be happy to help you in the process of selling your home, and you would be in good hands with Ricky and I.
Okay, thanks.